Rachel come to me and said we should have no parking along Ranchero, so I took it to council.
And the rest of them didn't want it.
And
Yeah.
every resident along there said, no, what are we gonna do when we have a party of some sort or anything? And the only thought I've had since that, and we just dropped it at that point. The only thought I'd had for that was if the main concern about not allowing parking on the street was because what if we have a birthday party or a graduation party or anything else, you know, my only thought was, at any point in time, a vehicle could be allowed to have parking for 2 hours or 3 hours. Granted, you wouldn't know exactly when they started, you wouldn't know when they end. It might be a complaint based and chief goes out and puts the chalk mark on the tire and gets them a ticket if they're there more than 2 hours. If we had something that was no parking except for, or parking is limited to no more than 2 hours, at least it'd be a case that the majority of the time, there won't be any parking there. If there is something like party, we don't have to worry about any real enforcement or tracking. The enforceability would be there.
You're also gonna get the people that move up and move back though, that, you know, are just gonna move it forward or whatever the case may be. But the other part that I'll respond to that with is there are plenty of streets in Waterloo, Cedar Falls area. I know I have good friends that live on them. There's no parking in front of their houses. Guess what? If you have a party, you make alternate arrangements to have, I mean, and every house that's on Waters Road right there is set back far enough, they could make alternate arrangements if they needed to or whatever the case may be. But you just know that if you live on that road, you don't have that availability.
And most people, since this got brought up, have been doing just that.
Parking in their, yeah, I would guess. And I assume, I mean, it's a handful, even from the times that I've gone out there. I mean, I was just at Fearguard's house the other night. It's a couple of cars. It's not like there's 40 cars parked along up and down these streets. You know, there's a handful of them here and there from what I've seen the last few times that I've been out there, and I've tried to get out there as much as I can lately.
I went out about 5:15 because I couldn't remember if the mailboxes were on both sides or not. And now, oh yeah, they're on both sides, so that doesn't work. And there were only 2 vehicles, one on one side, one on the other, but they were not directly across from each other, which is also good. And the one pickup that was there facing east, the driveway and the lawn were full of vehicles. So I can see probably why that person was parking on the street. So, of you who've taken the time to come in, are any of you against a no parking ordinance? So you are all in favor of a no parking ordinance?
Except for Mr. Mayfield.
Jerry, you're against a no parking ordinance?
I could go along with no parking on one side, but not both sides. I would be fully against that. I think there's a combination can be made that would help everybody. It may take getting
Sure.
the post office involved.
And from your standpoint, if there was parking allowed only on one side, you'd want the parking on the south side so that the curb is open? So,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Harlan?
I would agree with Jerry to the extent if you were gonna allow parking on one side, it would be there couldn't be any mailboxes across from it. So at least if they were parked on one side, we could at least, if they were parked on the south, I believe the north shoulder's flatter.
Yeah.
So we could
Still
basically
in it.
take the ditch
Sure.
to get around them, if you're gonna allow parking on one side or the other.
But the mailboxes would have to be.
But the mailboxes on both sides,
Yeah.
I can't see parking on either side because it creates that restriction. If there were no mailboxes on one side and everybody parked on the other, that would give you a way around.
I'm trying to think of where there would be a location for a centralized mailbox, because like in Upper Ridge, they've got one, just as you go in, it's on one side. In the addition I did to Glenwood Chase, it's got it right down the middle, and you can park lot spots. Jerry, you're probably gonna volunteer to give some ground for it, aren't you?
There's a driveway that somebody put in
Yeah?
on the corner of my property that I would allow that to be used.
Okay.
It's about 200 feet from Highway 58.
Okay.
It can be expanded.
Is that just before the corner, or the curve, or past it?
Yeah, it's between 58 and the curve,
Okay,
about halfway in between.
gotcha.
Someone built a driveway and it's not being used.
Okay.
Now, again, this is federal post office that we don't know if we have any way to request them to move anything.
They're good citizens.
I-
They work.
Right.
I've talked to him in the past in my prior lives, but that was many years ago, but I'm willing to go talk to him again.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt for us to talk to him. Now, we can still move forward on this unless we got other information. But one thing I do wanna know before the public hearing ends is if our chief of police have any comments for or against this. Hey, you're the one that has to enforce it, so you're gonna do what we tell you to do, I know that, because you're a good chief of police, and that's what you do.
But no real
However-
druthers either way, no real druthers either way. Okay. And we haven't had any accidents out there, have we, so far? You guys haven't scraped anything so far that you had to worry about, have you?
Not yet.
We don't want to do no.
But you're getting bigger.
I had
Put
to-
the brakes on pretty hard.
We also haven't had any kids get going across 63, but we built an underpass for them just in case.
That is absolutely true.
You know, that cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, so if that's the case we're using.
Any more comments as part of the public hearing? Thanks, I'll close the public hearing then.
Thank you all so much for
Yes,
coming.
thanks.
You can stay, because it's still on the agenda, but.
Yeah, the next thing on the agenda. General government, Hudson City Council maintains the right to waive the first and second readings of,
Thank you for coming.
thanks, chief. Of the ordinances presented and may pass the third and final reading of the same ordinance within the same council meeting. So item A, discussion action to approve the first reading of ordinance 837, an ordinance amending the code of ordinance of the city of Hudson, Iowa by adding chapter 6908, no parking zone for Waters Road within the city limits. So I would accept either a motion to table or a motion to approve the first reading, or I would still sit here and listen in case there is no motion made, in which case it dies.
I would make the motion that we move forward with this code, understanding that if we get additional information, we will be able to change it, but I don't wanna slow it up from going 6-8 weeks longer down the road. So I would make the motion that we approve the no parking.
Do I hear a second?
Are you just going to, are you approving
The first
just the
reading?
first reading?
Just the first reading, yes, I would
Okay.
not approve, I would not vote to
Okay.
waive
Can I
anything.
I would not accept beyond.
I wouldn't waive.
Okay,
see the
Matt
signatures.
is wanting to second it.
Matt
Give
is?
me-
Matt seconded.
Okay, further discussion, I'll give Gail here a few minutes here, she wanted to look, figureheads are on there.
Pretty much everybody in Hudson Heights is on.
Yeah, Gary Hartley is a
Was
former
there
police
any
officer.
residents along Waters Road that was in favor of it?
Those
Yeah.
did-
Just a second, Buns has the floor, Matt, hold on.
Jerry, had you gotten a copy to possibly sign or not?
Was
Their
this
petition?
provided to people on Waters Road?
Not within the city limits.
Not within the city
Okay,
limits?
Okay, so that's the external
Okay.
limits.
Okay,
Okay,
that was my
The
question.
concern was the through traffic, and that's why it was circulated where it was.
However, we did ask that a letter, and I know they were sent, every person that lives along Waters Road was sent a letter that this was on the agenda for this night, and they were able to come to this meeting if they wanted to voice.
and Jerry, you got one of those
Opposition.
letters, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But,
So-
and then we had no other written correspondence from people within the city limits on Waters Road?
No,
Okay.
I know that there were a couple people that had reached out that were planning on coming. but,
Yes, I had.
I haven't gotten any
And that's why I
other,
like it that we have 3 readings in a case like this.
Absolutely.
So it
yeah,
takes
cause
two
they
more
could
councils.
still come
The next.
the next time if they
So Matt's got a question?
Reister, you're up.
Yeah, I don't have a question, just discussion. The reason I'm seconding this and I'm gonna vote for it is because it's only the first 3 readings. And I think, with a couple of our council people not here, it's good to move forward to get their input for the
Right.
second reading. Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Okay.
And again, knowing that we can direct and we would prefer, we would ask that our administration contact the post office to see if that's an option. And if it's not, it doesn't hold us up this way, but if it is, then we can still discuss that at the next of 2 meetings before this goes through.
I do have, Kate,
Yeah?
You get the volume up all,
I'm
Katie?
having a hard time
Okay, yes.
understanding how the mailbox thing plays into this, and we can have more discussion about this at the next meeting during the second reading, but I just see those 2 separate issues.
Well, Matt, I think the issue, here's my observation of the issue with the mailboxes. If we have parking on one side, the mailboxes have to be reachable by the post office. So with mailboxes on each side, our risk is we're gonna cover up half the mailboxes potentially, and we're gonna have trouble with the post office. If they were all on one side, and you had parking on the opposite side, then at least we
Other
don't
way.
have the issue with the post office.
No, you're talking the other way is what they're asking for. They want the parking and the post and the boxes on the same side, so that if there's a car, they can still take the other ditch to get through.
Oh,
So
I
that
hadn't
it-
thought of that.
yes.
Well, I was thinking you
No,
wanted to.
they want them both on the same side. So, and the other part.
I was
that
thinking
we're-
more of the post office than I was thinking about you farmers. and,
No.
that's-
I got you, by the way, I
Right.
got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't know you were thinking the other way.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
So, and the other
I've
thing
been
with that,
accused of being backwards in my thinking quite often. so
if you are able to move the post office boxes all to the south side, you can't park in front of a post office box anyway.
Right,
Right.
10 foot or 20 foot.
Whatever
something
that
like
is, so that it would,
That would sure
it
cut
would
down on
eliminate,
parking.
it would cut down on parking spots that were available
But
on
still
that
a lot.
side as well. But
Huh.
yes, we'd want them on the same side as the parking.
Thanks for the clarification.
Gotcha.
Yes, I will reach out to them.
You also have winter snow.
Plows and,
Yep.
yep,
Narrows the road also.
Well, we could
absolutely.
just quit plowing snow out there, right, Jake?
That's okay with me.
Okay,
One other comment.
Yep.
Signpost that says no parking also take up space along the right of way.
yep,
Yep, absolutely, so, and I was thinking too that, you know, we could always get one of those solar flashing signs that show the curve or whatever if we needed to slow people down, but
Well-
not that that's gonna help a whole lot.
where Waters Road is the widest between 58 and the curve would be the spot. If we do put up any type of signs, that would be the spot. Give them notification early enough on to where you get the full width from the standpoint of traffic zone or something.
And we can also direct our police department to try to, you know, be out there during the morning commute and evening commute a few times to randomly slow some people down.
Well, like you said, if the word has already kind of gotten out and people have been parking there less, at least it's helped the issue kind of all by itself, just by having some publicity to it. And maybe this, presuming that we're gonna get a yes vote when I call for it, that we have that publicity, that where we can, you know, you can communicate, Jerry, even to your people, and we can get other communications out to them if we want to.
I'm kind of an outlier there. I
Okay.
mean, I got plenty of room to park. I just go up and down the road,
Sure,
you know, a
Just
few
don't
times.
speed,
yeah.
no speeding.
Most of mine is beyond that.
Okay, for the.
My biggest thing is the traffic, and
Yep.
my good friend sitting out that end,
Yeah.
that drives down there, if it slows all them down, I'm happy.
Yep, absolutely, so.
All right, any further discussion by the council? Roll call?
Wyatt,
Aye.
Reister,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
passes 3-0.
Thank you. Thank you all for your input. We'll get working with the post office, see what we can come up with. Appreciate all
Moving
your
forward.
information on it. and We'll keep you updated. But it will be on the agenda for the second reading on Tuesday, October 13th, because what's?
Columbus Day.
Columbus
Columbus
Day,
Day.
next on Monday.
So it'll be Tuesday. And then that'll only be the second reading, and if we have anything that comes up with any change, we'll let you know prior to that time. Okay? Thanks, Joe.
So do things go back, can things go backwards then on the 13th?
Yeah,
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 it could be voted down,
it could be voted down.
it could be tabled.
Okay,
Yep.
because hopefully we're busy.
Right.
Well, if we're getting, well, yeah, it could go. Well, I would say don't worry about having a lot of people here. You know, if somebody comes, says, I am the spokesman for farmers, community, whatever, you know, we'll take one voice as.
Public hearing is the biggest part of it, so we know where you
Yeah.
guys all stand.
Because there will not be public hearings at the next ones.
No.
You'll be allowed, if you want to speak to it, you can ask to be put on the agenda under the citizens.
Citizens come, yep.
And then you can talk about anything on the agenda, up to 5 minutes, and usually I allow it longer until it gets too late for supper.
Like now.
Yeah, Jerry?
You're gonna do some research
Yep.
with the post office.
If you're able to work on them too, please
Would you
do.
send out a notice of what you find
Yes,
before the
yep,
meeting?
yep. If we find out anything, we'll let you know if we find out anything, or if they just refuse to talk to us.
Because it may
Yep.
take them requesting it, the actual
Resident.
people, yeah.
We know that in new developments, they want single post boxes, and, because they won't even allow us to put mailboxes in town on new streets. But the question is how retroactive they'll allow that to take effect.
If it would help I would go with you,
Okay.
talk to them about the spot I'm talking about.
Okay,
If not,
all right.
Yeah, the problem is our local post office probably isn't anybody that makes any sort of
And
decision.
somebody might
But
have
we'll
a
try.
brother who works, higher up in the post office,
might.
he's on the processing end.
You suppose?
But, he probably would know the people to contact and
Okay.
would put us in touch.
Okay.
So
We'll do
he
some work
works
on it, definitely. If I
down
need you
at
to help down there, Jared, I'll get in touch with you.
very good.
Okay. Thanks all, you're welcome to go.
Or you can
Grace
stay.
got another.
One more question.
Yeah.
So to speak at the October 13th, ahead of time, the person needs to ask to be on the agenda.
As
Yeah,
you walk in the door, you can ask to be.
to be
you're allowed
under the
speak.
citizens'
Yeah,
requests and
you don't
oral
have to do it way ahead of time,
presentations.
Okay.
because we can pop you on right there.
Before the meeting starts, if you ask your.
Yes,
your-
yep.
Okay.
And I would just take an email to Chrissy too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes I vary that rule, but you don't wanna you don't wanna take that chance. Because if I know that something's going on and we have some discussions, we got somebody in the audience, I have the right to recognize them, but I try to keep it tight from a standpoint of going through like Waterloo and Cedar Falls do, where you got 45 minutes of anything being discussed. So, that's why once in a while we get out of here a lot shorter than 50 minutes, sometimes it's, what was our record?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. That's because we got good committees that put stuff together, so bang, bang, bang. So we don't mind spending 50 minutes talking about this type of stuff that's hits people, so, thanks.
One of the issues, I've lived there 40 years.
Yeah.
Over those 40 years, I've requested the city to put a street light on that curve.
Oh.
And have been told numerous times that we don't have the power out there, so we can't do that.
It's not America.
But if we're talking about safety,
Yeah, it's not HMEU, it's Mid-America too. It's
But no,
not
we have the ability to request that because
I
the addition I
I
did is
understand
Mid-America.
that. They were just brushing me off.
Yeah, to a certain extent, yes. What do you guys think about a street light there while we're here? At the corner,
Well,
the curve.
be it a street light, which I think is a good idea, or center markings on the road. I mean, there's, before the safety meeting that I attended first, the day before, I was coming to town and I was entering the curve from the west. A truck came from the highway, happened to be a single axle box type van. He was right in the middle of the road. I had to take the shoulder, I had no choice. I think if there was center markings, I know it's not gonna be probably perfect for semis, but at least it would keep the smaller vehicles maybe on the proper side of the road in the curve.
So if the center marking went from South Hudson Road, at least around the curve until it hits straight,
Might help.
to at least get them targeted the right direction.
They like the NASCAR to that corner.
Because we do a lot of, yeah,
How
we
far
do,
can I get over?
yeah, we do line markings, once a year, usually around Hudson Days, and if you think that'd be a help, we can sure consider putting
Is
that
that
on
road
there.
seal coated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So it could be
So,
done.
yeah, it'll hold, it's not gravel, so.
Change the,
And we'll take a
Well, yeah,
look at
especially
it.
if you do it around Hudson Days, that'll
change
be,
it to
After-
same as.
Yep.
it'll be packed in tight.
Yeah.
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 Because that's what we normally do, is right before Hudson Days. This
The
year, of course,
speaker
Hudson Days,
goes
got
same
stuff,
as-
so.
as,
afterwards. Yeah,
that
good
system.
good thought
No,
there.
go down.
I could probably get it done yet this year too, or have something there.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Do what?
Doesn't hurt.
Okay, change that one back to
And
webcam.
then we'll see, we'll get a hold of Mid-America and see about what's involved in getting the street light out there, because we pay for the street lights once they're installed, so.
Because you probably have to show them the location, because your property
Go to same
is
as.
that corner.
Right
Oh,
here?
they can take that. They
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
they can take that too. They have utility easements.
Give
probably,
them.
yeah.
The snowplow drivers have been willing to wait on that.
So if we had a street light and had a mailbox right there, so the street light's right over top of it, it's easy to get your mail, right? All that stuff.
Okay, we need to move.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm hungry.
I'm thirsty.
Hey, Matt, will you say something quick?
How you doing?
Yes, I move that we approve 2684.
We already did that.
No.
We
we
haven't,
haven't
we're
got
not
to
even
that.
there. All right, I got your motion.
Do you have a second on 2684
Second.
for resolution of concrete bids for fire station convenience center?
So
Further
that's just,
discussion?
okay, so what's the total amount of increase between?
$9,000.
9,000.
$9,000 more to go to Cunningham?
Yeah.
Is what it is, we gotta get it
Yep,
done.
we tried to do local and just couldn't make it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oh, do I need a roll call? Sorry.
Oh,
That's all right. Reister,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Wyatt,
I,
passes 3-0.
Item C,
I
discussion
move that
act.
we approve 2685.
oh, settle down.
I need to talk about it. Discussion action to approve resolution 2685, a resolution to replace the dump body in the 2003 Sterling plow truck for the city of Hudson, so the citizens that are watching this can understand what it is for. Do I hear a motion to approve, Matt?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Is there any other companies that do this?
Henderson's a manufacturer that boxes on it. Don's are the ones we've always used for installs. I could reach out, but I bet you're not gonna get any cheaper bids.
Could we try just to see if there's any difference between the two before you do it?
I can try, but I'll have to do some research.
I mean, it's $19,000 if we can get one, you know, if it's cheaper. I hate to keep going with, we've always done business with them. We've
So
always done
this
business
isn't
with-
just the box, because the old box that we have, they've gone away from it to a new design. So this will be a new underbody too, to fit the new box, because otherwise it's $500 more than that price to retrofit a new box to our old underbody. So it'll be all new underbody, new hoist, new vibrator, new box, new lights.
What,
whole-
I would accept the motion with an approval would be with the understanding that Jake, within the next week, would research to see if there is a viable alternative to it.
Yeah,
But
how many more
otherwise, it would
bids
be
you want,
approving
like
the-
two more, or?
no, I mean, I don't care if we get just two.
Okay.
You know, I mean, because there's a set amount, if it's over 50,000, we have to get competitive
Right,
bids.
yes.
This is not in that, but I continue to, you know, I just always hate to see, well, we've always done business with them. Well, hell, they could be $10,000, not that this is gonna be 10,000, but other situations could still be much more, and we're not even taking the time to do it. That's why, it's just another phone call I would like to see made, just to say,
And the other thing with this bid, they gave us a bid for a steel box and a stainless box. The stainless box was, I believe, $2,500 more.
it's gonna last longer.
Exactly, for $2,500, we might as well spend it.
What year is your dump, is the truck?
It's a 2003, we've got two 2003s. One has, the one that the box is rough on, has 51,000 miles on it. The other has 32,000 miles on it.
So this will also save us from replacing this truck.
Yeah, we wanna keep these trucks, at least all of us are under the understanding, we wanna keep them as long as we can, because they're pre-emissions, they're a low mile truck, they're easy to work on.
Okay, that's my concern too, is that we're gonna spend 20 grand on this and then go buy a new truck in 2 years, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Not my
to do it.
plan.
How big of a priority is this if we were to table this for another, till the next meeting?
There's a patch on it for now.
Okay, is it
Um,
holding?
It's holding, we've used it, it's holding.
Okay,
The other side is starting to look the same way as that one, where it broke.
okay.
If we table to the next council meeting until I get another bid,
It's
that's
not the end of the
fine.
world.
It'll hold through that. I would like to get it ordered as soon as we can, because Henderson is so far behind, we're not looking at a new box till March. That's when it'd be in, and then they have to install it too. So we're, what, 5-6 months out from box?
I mean, like I said, it's my money conscious self sitting here saying.
And there is a chance insurance might cover it, I don't know yet.
Which
So-
is
which
great,
would be
but either
good.
way, that doesn't mean, you know,
Yeah.
I've gone through this even with porta potties before, that we order them from the same company, well, there was another company that was like $1,500 cheaper. Well, we just never looked, you know what I mean, so is it worth an extra phone call and an extra 2 weeks just to say, we checked all the boxes, so
Yeah, I
that
can
nobody
try-
can come back to us and say,
I can try to find another, custom fab shop that
Yeah.
does stuff like this.
And you live with that?
not to make your life more difficult, sorry.
That's okay. That's what you pay me for.
Right,
So I have a motion and a second.
Yes,
on
you
there.
do.
Is there a motion to table?
I would make the motion that we table it till the next meeting.
I will second it.
Matt, are you okay with that?
I mean, I don't see a need to table it unless, I mean, if Jake can get another estimate, I mean, I generally agree with what Kate's saying. I like to just not get in the rut of doing the thing we've always done. If we can save money another way, I generally like that. At the same time, I hate to slow this down. So if there's a way to do it so that we can move forward without tabling it, but the moving forward is contingent on getting a second bid,
You're only tabling it for 2 weeks.
And because it's probably gonna take 2 weeks to get that bid.
Yeah, I guess.
Jake, are you okay with that?
That's fine with me.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, I have a motion to table with a second. Can I have, all in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. So it has been tabled and voice is okay for the tabling? Okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Thank you, like I said, I don't mean to make your life more difficult by any means, I just wanna
No,
make sure that we're checking all the boxes.
Well, and I think, so from an education standpoint, what we should be doing, even though they've gone through it at the Public Works, we should make sure that it's part of our Public Works process. That we're
Absolutely,
going through multiple before it goes to council. Okay.
I would agree with that, I mean,
And
there,
I
there's,
can rely on the fact that this is the unit that would, group that we've been working with, but you've got a valid point.
right,
We don't
you
know
know,
what their still
absolutely.
best place.
You know, or can General Sheet Metal in Waterloo make something for us that's, you know, that's gonna patch it in or do something like that too? You know, there's other options out there that may be a lot less than $20,000.
You know, this one with the underbody.
I definitely think it's gonna have to be a total replacement, and, the
And
reason for that is not just because of the corners. The box floor is getting wavy, it's just, the box needs
Yeah,
replaced.
I definitely trust your expert judgment, cause I'm not one that uses a dump truck like that by any means. I just wanna make sure that we check all the boxes and don't say, well, this is who we always use,
Yeah,
so.
Number of informational items in the packet, next scheduled meetings at the council chambers except electric board and library board. Public Works Committee, October 14th at 7 a.m. Mayor's Task Force, October 20th, 5 p.m. Public Safety, October 22nd, 4 p.m. Personal Admin Finance Committee, October 26th at 4:45. Next council meetings, October 23rd, which is a Tuesday at 6 p.m. and then Monday, October 26th. Motion to adjourn?
So
Move to
moved.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Bye, Matt.
Bye, Matt.